No worries. Yeah,
No worry.
excellent, man. So good to see you. So just so I understand, am I going to be asking you some of these questions that you sent me?
Well, I actually want to be like an interview at Module 18. If you remember, I'd like to be part of this
Okay.
program. You know, the product which I'm creating, and this is very. I'll be very happy if I'm making only with the students of Joe Bauer. I sent
Okay.
so many emails today. I'm gonna have another session with Marjoline and Rana,
Nice.
and
Nice.
and these people are from everywhere in the world,
Yes.
because I think that this program can be addressing the issues for everybody in everywhere in the world. Actually,
Yep.
Australians reacted very positive. Di Downey, John, I will see the other Andre, whether they're going to do it, because it's actually very similar like in Canada.
Oh, wow. Very interesting.
And that's why I send you the questions, because the questions are crucially important for
Okay.
us. Sorry, I'm going to work, but I don't mind. I mean, it will be very interactive actually to show people that property managers are working.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these questions are something I'm going to be asking you, and then you're going to answer them. Is that right?
Actually, I'm going to asking you, and we can go and interact between ourselves.
I see.
What it's going to be, how it reflects ourselves and in our communities. I mean, because
Okay.
I think that the major issue is that people today do not understand that
Okay.
living in a community, it's a preparation. It's not the same like everything else.
Got it. Got it.
If even you buy a house
Mhm.
without being in a community, it's still, as an owner, you can give a lot of feedbacks, and many owners here, they know
Yeah.
how they feel.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, well, we can start with the questions there if you have them.
Yeah, I
What?
have it. The first one it shows here. Think about the challenge you were having. What has happened at the time? What was happening at the time?
Yes, what your biggest challenge? Because I've heard that you were changing some communities before,
Hmm.
and I've heard that when you wrap your package, actually, you manage to overcome some challenges and take a good deal. I mean, I'm not sure.
Absolutely. That is a big deal because and I'll give you a perfect example. When I was trying to get the apartment lease,
Hmm.
if I would have gone without the package wrapped, I would have been pushed away. But the fact that I was wrapped in the package presented me in a different way that it kind of influenced their decision, which was powerful. So that is a big deal. That is a big deal.
Excellent, excellent. And yeah, I think that the second question was the same issue: how you overcome the challenges, or
Exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
it's what was their biggest challenge, and then what did this challenge bother them? It says there.
yeah,
Okay, so I mean, really, what it was, the fact that the person even said themselves, okay, it looks like you're good people just by the way I was dressed. I mean, she was assuming that I was a good person just by the way I was dressed. She goes, so I normally don't do this, and this was a manager. I normally don't do this, but I'm gonna go ahead and approve you as long as you can put 2 months deposit down, something like that.
yeah.
And that's exactly how I did it, and it worked phenomenally. I mean, it was amazing to see how somebody reacted. And I know for a fact, if I would have gone in there without a suit, I would have been turned away. There's no doubt, no doubt. Um,
Yeah, that's excellent, Eddie, because really it's in Canada also. I remember when I come, I
mhm.
can give my personal example. Without the help of local people to recommend you, you cannot take any rental.
Right.
Because I go into the rental, I didn't have an owner that, but still they have to know you.
Yeah.
And to let you know, I just came on the 30th of January 2010, and then, oops, they give me the they give me the keys and they say, "Sir, please take in charge." So everything was very, very kind of proactive and very, very nice that somebody supported you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would not have this apartment, and I'm sure in the United States is the same.
Yes.
How did you find the new community? What bylaws and rules they have? Do you manage to understand them, what they have, or I
I
mean,
don't. I don't actually.
you don't?
No, I don't
You,
understand them. Not 100%. No.
Yeah, but when you signed the lease agreement, didn't they present you some bylaws or rules, or?
Well, yeah, those rules, yeah, the general rules in the contract or in the lease, yes, that which is very reasonable and understandable to a certain degree. You got to pay your bills on a certain time, otherwise they charge you certain fees. You got to follow certain rules of the place. You had certain rules of whether or not you're going to have insurance, which, renter's insurance, that type of thing. So all those made, were specifically had clauses in their contract or lease. So you had to understand those when you were signing them.
So yeah, because usually it's a rental building or residential. I mean, how it's set in the United States, how it's called.
It could be either one. Either residential or it could be an apartment complex.
I see.
Yeah.
And
Or in a home.
usually only tenants are there, or?
Right, just tenants.
Oh, say it's interesting that because yeah, we have here the same in British Columbia. We have one owner and then multiple tenants, and usually it's a different legislation, and it's called a rental property manager who is managing that company. Because people, when they say property manager, they say generally, but here I think I explained to you, but I can explain to everybody that a rental property manager is different than the strata or so-called community manager, which is in United States, because community manager has a different license, at least here, and in Australia, I think, because they're doing only with the owners. When you're doing with tenants, which is nothing wrong, actually, this is a different title and it's a different responsibilities. Usually, they are overlapping both licenses to a certain degree, and then they're different. So you don't have a property manager there, or you don't know?
Well, they probably do have like a property management service, and that's how they do it here. They have a property manager, but there's two property managers. There's the one that's on site, that's considered a property manager here in the U.S., which is managing everything. But then there's one that's managing the whole complex, which is their maintenance and all that stuff, and then the rental agreements and all that.
So yeah, that's interesting for here, because here in British Columbia, it is a caretaker, which is called the handyman, the guy who is really in charge of the maintenance. The property manager is actually more kind of person who is dealing with a lot of other issues, finding estimates, dealing with the board of directors, and having their feedback, and also having their authority what to do, because without their approval you cannot do nothing. And that's the thing which is kind of different in the United States and in some provinces in Canada, because we are considered as a people of authority, but we are sub-authority of the authority, something like that. That's why I'm asking whether you have a property manager. Do you have a kind of communication with him or her, or
you do, yeah. You could walk into the leasing office and speak to the property manager that's on site, that overlooks everything. But then the actual people who are managing the area, no, you don't really have contact with those people. They just come in every now and then, like maybe every quarter. They look at everything, see, like they assess what needs to be done, and then they, stuff like that. But it's totally different. And then you have also, as I remember now too, in another place you have the different types of management service where they're managing the payments and contracts, or any issues that are going on, like plumbing or anything like that. They handle everything behind the scenes type of thing. So it's like different levels, so it looks like.
I'm sorry. Did this challenge bothers you when you have it before, or how did it bothers you? When you overcome it, how did you feel about this when you have this challenge before, when you are looking for the lease?
Well, it was actually a little nerve-wracking, because my wife was more nervous than me, because if I didn't get a lease, then the other place where I was at, the price was going to go up by $200. And I didn't want to be there anymore because I was unhappy. and I wanted to be closer. It was technically going to put us in the street if I wouldn't have gotten approval. So we would have been homeless. So I wasn't afraid of that. I said, let's face the fear. What's the worst that can happen? You know, we live in the streets for a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
that's it. You know, and then
it's not,
when I faced that fear, the fear went away. You know.
wow, that's a good example, because many times I've met the same issues. What's gonna happen? People start to get panicking.
Yeah.
But the thing is, really, you have to stay, especially those who are leading the communities.
Yeah.
I'm sub-charge, or let's say following their advice. Sometimes I see that, and it can go ballistic, and it comes from without knowledge and
Right.
only fear.
That's right.
So, yeah, I mean, what solution did you try to solve the challenge? I mean, probably the answer is, as you said, taking out the fear out of the equation.
Exactly. I actually faced it. I actually lived the fear. Here's the thing of what I did. A lot of people don't know this, that I did that, but I actually slept in my vehicle for one night. And then I said to myself, this is not so bad after all. So by me doing that, the fear totally disappeared, because now I would no longer worry whether or not. I still said, you know what? I have a big enough truck. I can lay down in the back of the truck. I'm not worried about it if it happens. I don't have to pay for rent. I don't have to pay for the light bill. I started looking at all the positives, and all of a sudden, it just disappeared. But if I would have been focused on the negativity of it, like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Where am I going to eat? What am I going to do this? That? Then all of a sudden, it would have been more of that problem attracted to me. You know, so that was one way that I overcame that.
So, yeah, what did not work and what happened as a result? I mean, as a result, it was positive. What it didn't work? What do you think it could be better, or something which can be different? Or you like the result as it is? You didn't want to be different way? I mean,
yeah, actually, the result was exactly the way I wanted it. If it would have been the opposite way, it would have been a disaster. You know, it could have been a lot worse. But it worked out exactly the way it was planned, which was good. You know, my wife was freaking out, but you know, but I wasn't. I just started implementing, taking action, and that's what helped me get there.
Excellent. So you ultimately solved the challenge by confronting the fear and focusing on what you want, and even that's a good thing.
Correct.
Because I had the same issue, personal one. I mean, it's still going on with my wife. She was very honest to her owner, saying, I want to quit this job. I don't like it. Don't give me a raise.
Mm-hmm.
Which is very brave. But now she started to go into fear mode, where she started to look for jobs, and she compares the salaries. And she saw that whatever she's looking for, it's less paid. And she kind of felt like entrapment, and that's not the way it should be, because the once you said to the owner, hey, I'm leaving you, don't give me a raise, and he will support her, because in Canada, if you leave, I don't know how it's in States, sometimes the government will not give you the insurance employment. This means that you cannot stay on on government's resources.
Right,
but
same here.
Yeah, if they release you, it depends on the situation, it depends on what's going on. So it's really, she wanted to have time to look for a job. At the same time, she started to compare the salary which she's get, and she started to be more affirmative. And I said, I'm just watching her, and I understand her, and I told her, just leave. I mean, because the moment you stay longer and longer, you will procrastinate the decision. But you made it, because you went to your car and you gave the example to your spouse, and that nothing can be feared.
Right. Exactly.
What would you recommend to the others with this challenge?
For any challenge, I mean, you always have to look at the positive side of everything. There's always a flip side. Don't stay focused on the negativity, because that's the problem. People stay focused on what's going wrong instead of focusing on what could be right. And there's always, there's day and there's night. So there's always an opposite side. So all my life, I've always tried to figure out, okay, if there's the problem, there's a solution. What are my alternatives? Because if you go based on a decision of emotion, the emotion sometimes gives you a clouded mind, and you can't think clearly, and you can't see what other people can see, you know. And so I think it's important to strip away the emotion and start, you know, and for a moment, and try to look at it from the perspective of somebody else giving you the advice. What would they say? How would they do it? How would they handle the situation? You'll be surprised how everybody will have a different answer to that situation, you know. And that's how I attacked it and approached it. And I think that's the best suggestion I can give to anyone.
Excellent suggestion. What are some things to look out for? I mean, what do you suggest after this experience for people who are looking for, let's say, for a lease or rental, or let's say they want to live in a residential building?
Yep.
Don't you prefer to deal with the owner directly, or you prefer a rental building? What do you think is the difference in the United States?
Well, it depends on the current situation or circumstance for the person, whether or not they can get into a home, and whether or not they have the resources for it. And another thing too is you have to be prepared, because if you can't speak directly to the owners, you're going to have to speak to management or somebody who's of higher authority that has the authority to approve something, to make something go through. Be prepared for, you know, any added expense or any sudden amounts of money that they may be asking you for that you may not have been prepared for. So it's like you start preparing that nest egg. So that's what I was doing. I was preparing months ahead. I already knew my lease was going to be up, you know, 4 or 5 months prior to me starting to take action. So I started saving just in case. I said, let me start saving some money, and then that way if they start to ask me, like different places start asking me, hey, I need a higher deposit, or I need this, or I need that, then whatever the case is, then you'll have it. You'll be ready for it. And in my case scenario, it was unique because I had something that happened from many years back, from a broken lease that was not even done by me, but it was showing up under my name. And it was actually done by an ex-spouse. And when we were going through the divorce process, I was awarded the house. Well, she went on a rampage, and she started getting stuff under my name, credit card stuff under my name. And because we still weren't legally divorced, she still had authority to sign. So she signed the lease of an apartment, and then she canceled it the next day. So that was actually hurting my credit. And so now that showed up. Anytime I tried to lease somewhere, it would pop up like, you broke a lease, when I never did. I never signed anything. So it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare to get that off, because I had to prove the process. And that's very difficult, especially here, because I was a victim of identity theft in that case. And it became a nightmare because that person was still legally married to me. So it was a lot of back and forth. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You just come from big adversity, as they say here. And
Yeah. Yeah.
My wife, actually, maybe you've seen some of the comments that I'm her second husband. So she came from the same thing, but sometimes I feel that she's still living in the past, you know, and having, for the women, it's actually really more go in depth.
Yeah.
And I feel that, and I understand that. From the other side, she appreciates what I'm giving to her. But of course, sometimes she goes in this flip mode. So it's very essential, especially in this business, to act as a business.
Yep.
Because if you go emotional, you're right, you can lose it.
Oh, yeah, you'll lose it very quickly.
So, yeah, about all this experience, what made the difference with the other experience? What do you think this was different than the other ones which you rented out? What was the last one was more profound, and what's really what you learned from there?
Well, I learned that you have to be more selective. You know, choose what's best for you, what's best for your family. In my case, it was a situation where my wife, she worked in that apartment complex, so it was easy. I did not like that place, but because she get reduced amount of rent that she paid, we stayed there. But as soon as she got laid off because a new property management came in, they got rid of all the employees there. It kind of put us in a bad position because the rent went really high because they were changing prices and everything. And we still had a lease, so we couldn't break the lease without it costing us money. So I just said, let's run out the lease, and then let's start planning for a different situations. And that's kind of where the better part came in, because we were able to plan based on where we work, how to be within 10, 15 minutes away from where we work and stuff like that, as opposed to 45 minutes away where we were before. See, that was big differences. And then that just helped me alleviate a lot of things, because then I can focus more on things that I want to manifest in my life, as opposed to having to drive so much every day, spending 2-3 hours on the road just driving, just to go back and forth. So all those things start shifting as long as you start planning it, and that's how that got there.
That's excellent, Eddie. Yeah, I mean, the last question is obviously more in depth. We didn't spend so much time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we spent actually much time than other kind of students of our mentor. But if you feel that I kind of help you in your life, I would like your thoughts. If you don't, you can say what I can improve, because I think that this is going to be very essential for the future students of mine, because I really want to create a system where people feel empowered, and they will understand that living in a community, it's a preparation, as you said, and you cannot just start to become an owner or even a tenant if you don't know everything around it, and if you don't know what to do, as you did,
right,
and be successful in your place. So please share your thoughts, Eddie.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Vladimir. I mean, you help clarify it, because a lot of people don't understand this process, and I didn't understand it 100%. I just stumbled across a couple of things, but you helped clarify it, which was really nice, because you can kind of break it down into simplified forms, which I think is what I call digestible. It's easy to understand, easy to absorb. And I love that part. I love that aspect. And plus, you are a master implementer, so you actually lead by example, which is huge. One thing is to say something, but you walk your talk. So that's a big part. And I admire that about you, the fact that not only you're an implementer, but you're an expert at what you do. And now you're manifesting the systems, and you're helping others to reach those goals, to help them get clarification on the leasing and management and property management and all that, in your life. So that's great.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you very much, because I really, even yesterday, thank you, sir. Yesterday I had a council meeting, and it was the same. I asked my supervisor to come, and I'm going to the office to see what's the wording, and I was joking, we're still in contract or not, because really I told her that if they give me what they want, we have to be trying to be compliant to the law. But I've seen that many kind of boards here, let's say boards, they're trying to do, which is great, they're trying to give us more power.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is the trick here, as I explained maybe before, that here specifically, not only in British Columbia and Canada, or maybe in States, actually the boards are those who are the leaders, and they can give you this power, but at the same time they can take it at any time.
Yeah.
Because they, at the same time, your customers, they're trusting you, but they.
Yeah. I'm losing you there. Having an internet connection. I can't hear you anymore, Vladimir. I don't know if you can hear me. Let me send you a message. Oh, okay. Now I can hear you. Now I can see you.
Yeah, because somebody was calling me. That's why I apologize.
Oh, okay. Okay. No worries.
Somebody was calling me. I just declined the call. But anyway, thank you very much, because it's really
welcome.
helping me to build a system, to clarify, and to show that whenever you are living, when you go in community, because I saw it back in my home country, I've been part of it. I've seen that people don't like to be in community, and and I was the same way. I was mistaken there. I was thinking, I bought an apartment, but it doesn't mean I'm living alone. And there was the challenge that in Bulgaria you don't have a system where even for a cleaner you need to knock at the doors and gather the money.
Right.
And this is a volunteer position then again, but nobody wants to pay, or few wants to pay. They don't understand, when you're living in a community, you don't have only your expenditure, but you have also this way. Here in North America and Australia, people get to this level to understand, okay, I'm gonna go there. Maybe I have to do some more job, to do more time of mine in order to help, or at least not to bother, not to hinder the process.
Sure.
Because this is also very essential, not to just yaka, but to give some really contribution to the people, because sometimes these people need some time and fresh air and life, volunteers and property managers even, in order to do their job. And their primary job is the maintenance. Wherever you go, it's not the conflicts which are a lot between owners, between council and owners. So this is the thing where I think this interview going to clarify. Wherever you live, United States, and I've heard Canadians being there, they say, oh, it's the same conflicts there and sharing the same thoughts. But yeah, it's because of the education of living in a community. It starts before, which actually I think that is missing, because you have to have, as you said, this positive attitude to solve the issue rather than confronting everybody, because your ego is not your amigo.
Right, that's exactly right.
Which is not our word, it's our mentor's word, because this is the thing where you put the ego. If it's in your house, yeah, okay. But then again, you have a neighbor.
Yeah.
So again, you have to be careful there, because it can end up with a legal case, which is not necessary.
True.
Yeah.
True. Makes sense.
Thank you, Eddie. I'm going to wait for the video and QCR codes. Maybe you can advise me how to take this. I have to go online and take it, or?
Yes, to be able to, for which one? For the course you're talking about?
Not for the code, QCR code.
Okay.
It's in the module saying that when you make these videos as a promotional part of your book,
right, you can, the QRC code, yeah.
QCR, or I'm not remember what's the name.
Yeah.
And then based on that, anybody who bought the book, you can just watch the video for free.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, and you're actually a couple of steps ahead of me, because I'm still working on some of the profit point stuff. So I'm kind of intermixing both. But you're a couple.
No, I'm not step ahead of you, because you were there with Joe. I mean, it's a different level, and I see the people there who really follow him, like you and me. I mean, as much as I can. The live interaction is very essential. I didn't expect that.
It is. It's crucial. It's crucial, and I highly recommend that. I mean, if you can definitely go to an event where he's there live, I mean, I couldn't recommend it more, because there's going to be certain elements in there that you don't get on a live webinar. And different techniques, different strategies too. But the biggest benefit of the online mentoring is the structure and the baby steps, because that's where most people realize where you get the maximum benefit is the fact that we have a structured layout week by week by week, as opposed to here's the whole golden platter, now sort it out. It's a lot easier this way, because there's direction. It tells you exactly what to do. So that's what I love. I love that part of the online mentoring. So they both go well, but the fact is, when you do the online mentoring and then you go to his live event, it's all going to come together. Because he's going to give you a lot more at an event. He's just going to give. But you'll be able to put it all together because of the online mentoring.
Yeah, that's the thing which I'm facing too. But he's right. You should take your time, because sometimes I'm also. And he said it at the last live. He said, "Don't speed up, because you didn't join at the same level as the rest of it." Plus, my wife is laughing sometimes, coming the demons. What you're doing? This is not working. You think you're going to lead this, and everything will be fine. I said, "No, you don't understand." It takes time, and. I love to show the results in future, and really like you are. And yes, touching with him 9 days for sure. It's a different story.
Oh, yeah,
the live connection is different.
Yeah.
But thank you. I'm going to wait for the video, and I'm looking forward the 2nd, 3rd till 12th. And also, if you need the same thing, I'll do for you, because this is one of the module 18. which is here. I print it out and I copy paste the questions.
Excellent.
And this is only the assignment 1.
Okay.
You have assignment 2, 3, 4. So after you make these 12 videos, you're actually creating your future book and system.
Nice.
Actually, I was surprised that some of my colleagues declined it. I was ready with my camera. I found a very small photo, like a photo camera, which can make some videos.
Yeah.
And they decline it, and they start to stress out. Nevertheless, they give me the video testimonial.
Yeah.
I say, okay. I mean, I don't mind. I mean, I understand it's more in depth and going, but
Sure.
you see, if I made it with the students, actually, they start asking questions like you. Okay, how can I help? What can I do for you?
Right.
Even Dr. Lina Takar, I said, no. I want to embrace the health issue here, because actually the stress
Yes.
which I've seen, and the conflicts and the arguments and the swearing in front of me, which is crazy.
Yeah.
That's why you have to maybe take a course, or maybe ask yourself a question: am I ready to live in a community?
Right.
Because there are people who don't want to live with other people. I mean, they want to be alone,
Yeah.
which is not wrong.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you very much for your help. In 1 hour, I'll have an interview with Marjoline.
That's right. There you go, man. And I'll be with Yvonne Solomon pretty soon.
Yeah. Thank you. And your postings a great amount. Congratulations for your books.
Oh, well, thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's nice books. It's so kind of simple when you see it, and it's not like like me writing and nobody reads.
Hey, no, man. You know what? You're mad. Believe me, everybody's watching you, because actually, I think somebody just mentioned that the other day on the online. I forget who it was. I think it was Jim, maybe. I forget who it was, but he mentioned that you know, he's watching us. We're inspired by me, inspired by Jody. You know, by Dr. Lina Takar, and a lot of people, you know, who are just implementing. You know, so
that's good. Yeah, that's good. The inspiration is great, because we don't have nothing else here in the other world. You know, you see that conflicts and stuff and problems.
That's right.
There's nothing here to find so amazing sometimes.
This keeps us on track and keeps us focused. And when you see somebody else doing something, it inspires something in someone else, because you're like, oh man, this person's doing that. I can't stay behind. Now I have to do this, you know? And it just keeps people in the motion, keep them going forward, you know? So that's exciting.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, man. And thank you. See you around.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.